Then hi, Lasha.
Yeah, Dasha, how are you?
Very good, and you?
I'm well, thank you. So, what are we
Cool,
going
man.
over today?
Let's just get right into this. I've got a couple of questions I want to ask, and it's something that I think that a lot of people are unsure about, and I think even people that practice Tai Chi don't even know half the time. What actually is Tai Chi?
I don't know. Naming it one thing is very difficult because it goes from exercise, it goes to combat, it goes to how can I say spiritual exercise as well. A lot of qigong. It's such a how can I say a small label for such a big thing. I would say Tai Chi is a lot more to do with an individual than a practice. It's a lot more to do with any kind of personal progress rather than any kind of, like I said, practice. I'd say you could call it a martial art. You could call it, how can I say, exercise. You could call it therapy. You could call it quite a lot of things. The way I've used it or the way I've learned it is as a martial art, as well as, what can I say? I've also learned it philosophically, like through my teachers, to help guide with lots of decisions, things like that.
Hmm.
So, from my point of view, it is a martial art, both for exercise and recovery and energy, as well as for combat. Um, that's just the way I've experienced through my schools and with my teachers.
A lot of people see Tai Chi, they just see park Tai Chi. So if you go to Hong Kong or you look at some of the videos online, in fact, a lot of the training, even a lot of the guys that train, a lot of different courses you can get, is what we at our school would call park Tai Chi. Tell me a little bit about that. And that's what most people think Tai Chi actually is this park Tai Chi. Can you just explain what park Tai Chi is and the difference between, say, park Tai Chi and, for example, a full combat Tai Chi or practicing Tai Chi as an actual martial art?
Okay, so I would say that the reason most people have how can I say, the idea that Tai Chi is limited to park Tai Chi is because, as you said, it's what they see most of the time. It's what people are most exposed to. It's much to do with, I'd say, marketing, because to learn enough about Tai Chi to use it as a martial art effectively takes a lot of time and effort, which people don't often have the time or, I don't know, the energy to do. So I'll give you an example. It would take a lot more time for someone to learn the ins and outs of Tai Chi, even the fundamentals, because there are quite a lot, the intricacies, the techniques of Tai Chi, just because there's so many, as opposed to learning something like boxing or karate or something that's relatively straightforward and made for the job, which is just combat. Just that's why I say Tai Chi is a lot more than a martial art. It's many things that you learn. That's what makes a Tai Chi. You can't skip any part of it. You know what I mean? That's what encompasses the word or the practice or whatever it is. So the reason people would say it's useful or not useful for or as a martial arts is because of what they've seen in movies or what they've seen in real life. So it's either extremely soft in a park, old people, or it's people with swords flying or throwing chi balls or stuff. We've seen two extremes of Tai Chi that don't really match reality on either end. Like it's not just a soft, although it is very soothing and very low impact when you're doing your routines. It's not just a soft, slow motion exercise, but it also is not a magical. How can I say this? There's nothing mystical about Tai Chi further than the philosophy and spirituality. There's nothing that we physically, how can I say, can conjure or anything like that. So people have only seen those two ends of the spectrum, which are so far sided where it does actually meet in the middle, because it is not crazy. It's very gentle. You learn it slowly. You learn it calmly, gently. You take your time. But at the same time, it gives you so much more energy, so much more understanding of yourself, To say it's mystical doesn't make sense. It would be like saying, because I'm a small person, I can't throw a bigger person. But because I would know certain techniques or know how to do certain things, posture, footwork, all those kinds of things, and I'd be able to do it, it would look impressive. But to say it's like magical or anything like that, that's not the case. So I think the way that it's been sold to people is exactly what they take in. It's either sold as something you try and you get these powers, or it's only for old people, it's soft and whatnot. I remember growing up, I started this when I was like 6. Growing up, there were so few teenagers actually interested in these Chinese martial arts like Tai Chi, Wushu, and whatnot. It was like the number of young people who were interested in it is just lower and lower and lower. So they went more into boxing, into kickboxing, into these kinds of martial arts. So when you see old people, or how can I say, maybe middle-aged people doing Tai Chi now, it's just because of the interest, I think, has kind of died off. I think people like me who just stuck through it and trained forever, it's not very common, because I think 2 things. One, there's no instant gratification. Like, you don't just improve within a week. You don't just, it's like you go to boxing and you learn a 1-2 and you feel pretty strong. You know, you hit that bag, it moves, makes a noise. You get that instant gratification that you learned how to hit this bag. When it comes to Tai Chi, you don't see things happening immediately. You feel it throughout time. And I don't think many younger people have the, attention span to go through hours and hours and hours and years and years and years of training to get to feel something. I think they prefer the snap of boxing, something like that. But in my experience, from training Tai Chi originally, moving to MMA, judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, how can I say, how easily I fit into each of these sports. And you could say MMA is nothing like Tai Chi, you could say. But unless you've done all of Tai Chi, you can't tell me that. I have. I've trained grappling through Tai Chi. I've trained striking through Tai Chi. I've trained so many essential things to MMA through Tai Chi that you would just assume he's going and fighting MMA, like everything's. So unless you've been able to train both of these things and see how it evolves, I don't think you'll be able to understand or appreciate the effectiveness it does have in combat.
I just wanted to ask you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your instructor. Where did you learn Tai Chi? Who did you learn it from? And a little bit about his history, especially with regards to a sort of more Christian Tai Chi. My understanding is that your Laoshi was actually starting to become a pastor at some point.
Yeah, so my Laoshi, which means teacher, my Laoshi's name was Robert, so we called him Robert. His first name was Dean, but he went by Robert. And he spent majority of his life from, how can I say, from his teen years being interested in martial arts to then in his 20s continuing with Tai Chi, all kinds of different martial arts just throughout his life. He just fell in love with martial arts and continued it for decades. And I was lucky enough to find his school. And to say he was, how can I say, eclectic, I think I would say he was a very eclectic person, which meant he was interested in a lot of things. Very interesting guy. But he did spend his earlier years very religious. He went to Bible studies. He was planning on becoming a priest. I'm not sure for how long or when the change happened, but I know that somewhere in his 20s, he decided he wanted to fight. Not fight as in randomly go and beat someone up, but he wanted to competitively fight. He wanted a combat experience. But the school that he went to, strangely enough, didn't immediately offer him competitive experience. They taught him Tai Chi first, or they taught him Tai Chi Bagua Singi, first. He taught him traditional martial arts. And what he was interested in was something called Sanda, which we do. Sanda is Chinese kickboxing, which is very similar to kickboxing. You'd be surprised how many types of kickboxing there is. There's K1, there's Muay Thai, there's Chinese kickboxing, there's Russian kickboxing, Dutch kickboxing. There's quite a lot of different styles, but the main differences are the rules. So in Chinese kickboxing, the difference is you are allowed to catch kicks, you are allowed to throw, and you are allowed to strike on the ground. So it wasn't as simple as stand-up combat. It involved standing, grappling, and groundwork with striking. So he was very interested in that because it does give a very total experience of combat. It's not just stand up and it's not just grappling. You're able to, strike, grapple, and strike on the ground. So it gave you how can I say, a very mixed experience of combat, which is what he liked. So growing up doing Sanda as well as Tai Chi, he had the balance of, the calmness, the, the energetic and the contemplative advantages of Tai Chi, as well as the athleticism and the, not anger, but combat readiness. He had a great understanding of both Tai Chi and kickboxing. So the way we were taught, like I explained earlier, it wasn't just the forms and routines that you would see in a park. We would grapple, we would strike, we would spar, we would learn locks and holds, we would learn how to deal with combat situations. Very often, I'd say as much as we did train Tai Chi, we trained Sanda. And it's weird saying Tai Chi and Sanda because it falls in the same bracket. We would do Tao Lu and Sanda. Tao Lu means routine, it means form work. Sanda means combat. So we would do both. And both are also Tai Chi, as well as Qigong. All of these gave us a all-round experience, and that all-round experience is what we call Tai Chi.
So in your experience after that, now I know that you've done boxing as well. You've competed. You've had some amateur fights in boxing. You had some amateur fights MMA recently. I know you got a fight coming up, MMA. I know that you're now been grappling as well, been doing judo. Tell me a little bit about how easily your foundation in Tai Chi has helped you move into these other martial arts.
I would say that the foundation of any martial art is balance. Foundation. If you don't have balance, whether it's boxing, grappling, anything, if you can't handle your body weight, if you can't control your movement, it's very difficult to control someone else's movement. If you don't have a solid structure, you can't move another structure. And what was fundamental in Tai Chi was two things: balance and footwork. Absolutely fundamental. It's what you would train every single lesson at the beginning, of course, and then continue with other kinds of forms and whatnot. But the structural integrity that comes with Tai Chi is something that would fit into any sport, be it like you said, I've done judo, I've done wrestling, MMA, boxing, Muay Thai. And all of these things depend on your balance and your control. Yes, it does involve athleticism, which we did build without training, but it's just different depths of athleticism. So I would say this: being able to control or decide in the moment what I want to do and having enough balance to do it when I want to do it is the biggest advantage that I got from Tai Chi. From my stance, from my, lack of panic, which was built through Tai Chi. It's not that I don't panic, it's that I know how to control what's happening while I'm panicking. Because to say you don't panic is to say you're not a human. It's like fear. It's a natural survival reaction. Humans will panic. Our heart starts beating fast. Adrenaline runs through our veins. It's a natural thing that happens. Being able to focus and decide what you want to do while that's happening is something that most people won't understand, because when you are attacked or when you're extremely stressed, all you can do is what your body's telling you to do. All you can feel is what your brain is telling you to feel. And very often we make decisions based on that, which would be a mistake or disadvantages. And being able to put everything happening aside and being able to focus on your goal while it's happening is something something you can't just understand. No, you can't, and you can't fake it either. So when it comes to judo, when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to MMA, these are, especially MMA, I'll say especially MMA, is a very high intensity, high stress environment. It's two people fighting for their lives. The best I can put it, you know what I mean? We spend so much time learning just how to defend ourselves from someone who's attacking us. And so did the other person who you're fighting. They learned the same thing. So it's the best of movement, power, agility, all these kinds of things. And in that kind of competitive and aggressive environment, being able to focus, being able to see what's coming and react effectively is the main difference that would make you, I don't want to say a better fighter or a great fighter, but it would make you, far before a fight, make better decisions to prepare for a fight, or if something is just happening in your daily life, to help you get past what's happening in front of your face, get past the noise, and focus on what you need to do. When it comes to the classes in MMA, when it comes to the classes in and the coaching that I receive, being able to receive that information, tell my body, this is what I need to do in this situation. And then when the situation happens, being able to respond with what I've learned. That's not something people can get into with a new sport. They have to understand, they learn themselves first through your white, yellow, green, or through your belt systems. They're levels for a reason. You first have to learn how to use your feet. You then have to learn how to control your body. You then have to learn your balance and your power, each with levels. And because we go through such extensive training with that through Tai Chi, it's something that's already there. It's a stability that's already ready to function. It's prepared to function immediately. So you're able to slot into these different sports. And I will be honest, a lot of, not a lot, but I'd say 50% of it does or is attributed by my athleticism and for my eagerness for the sports. Because I am so excited about these martial arts and these sports, and because I like it so much, it drives me to train it more and more and more intensively as well. But you can't just, how can I say, put someone in the sport and think that they're just going to pick up everything and just going to be able to slot into it. You'll take time to learn it. So having the foundation of every sport, I would say most sports, every combat sport, from your, I'd say from your core, from your bones, or from your essence, I would say, makes it so much easier to jump into any situation and be able to control yourself enough to control the situation. And that's absolutely like superior to any kind of skill, I would say, because you could be a great fighter, but as soon as you panic, you're not moving. As soon as you see what's coming and you freeze, it doesn't matter at that point. So being able to focus, being able to control your body, being able to move freely is what I would attribute my ability to get into all of these sports.
I think a lot of Tai Chi practitioners, we kind of like done it to ourselves, maybe from movies and things. And then another part of me thinks that perhaps it's been really useful. I think perhaps back in the day, I know that a lot of the Tai Chi martial artists were used as sort of like bodyguards, moving money. And if you have stories around you, even mystical stories about how you can do mystical things and shoot chi balls and who knows what, these stories actually help you from a defense perspective, because it might prevent some people from even, it's a bit like Sun Tzu, right? Make sure the guy that like the best way to be at war is not at war, kind of thing. Make sure your opponent doesn't even bother trying. So if they believe in some sort of mystical power or something that you may have as a martial artist, it's not a terrible thing, even though it's not true. And somewhere along the line, these myths and legends and things get mixed in with the actual biomechanics of what's really going on, which is really the same biomechanics in many martial arts. Whether it be wrestling or boxing or and then the Eastern martial arts as well. But that said, it's something that we at TCFC Tai Chi are going to bring out, which is our version of Tai Chi walking. But it's kind of taken off, the Tai Chi walking thing. I think everybody's been inundated with a whole lot of ads. I can't go online without finding Tai Chi walking ads. And there's just these weird claims about what Tai Chi walking is going to do. Extend your life. I don't know, cure cancer. Enable you to walk in the air. I don't know. Don't have to eat anymore because you just absorb cosmic food or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But it appears like there's quite a lot of the scam stuff going on that is completely disconnected from the reality of the art.
I would say that. Like as you mentioned earlier, the thing about if you come off as being able to do such amazing things, you're much less likely of being attacked. And partially, it's also to do with culture. I'll put it to you this way. In the East, what's extremely important is reputation. In most countries in the East, whether it's family reputation or individual reputation or school's reputation. And you'd want to take, how can I say, credit for as much as you can, I would say. So if you're a, how can I say, Chinese master at a school, and you heard a rumor saying that you could punch holes through people, why not? If someone else is saying it, who am I to go out of my way to say, no, I can't punch holes? I mean, as much as it would be the honest thing to do, it's not like only honest people have ever done Tai Chi. You know what I mean? It's not like everyone who's done Tai Chi has been a saint or a monk or, a perfect practitioner. There will always be people who will take the credit, say, yes, I can punch through walls. Come join my school for this much, and I'll teach you how to punch through people. And having that kind of reputation does two things. Yeah, it gives you security, I suppose. No one's going to want to fight someone who can punch through you. And it'll also get a lot of people to want to come to you to learn. Your school will grow. And any kind of credit you can get, I suppose. Very many of them took. But unfortunately, if you have some bad apples, people are going to assume the bunch is spoiled. So it's a very similar thing, because a lot of people took credit for crazy things that completely unrealistic and stood confident with it. And many people would say, hang on, it doesn't make sense. So because you don't make sense, I don't think Tai Chi makes sense. And it's 50-50. It's one side is, yes, it's powerful. The other side is, that's not what these people are saying. It's not what certain people are saying. And it's amazing because it can happen anyhow. Like you say, back in the day, it was like he had such energy that, I don't know, you'd stumble in front of him or something. And now it's, if you do Tai Chi walking, you will add 10, 20 years to your lifespan. And I haven't really seen any of these ads, but I've heard people talking about it. And listen, I've been doing Tai Chi for 20 years now. I've learned quite a lot. I don't want to say as much as you can, because it's a huge field. I've learned quite a lot about Tai Chi, and I've definitely learned Tai Chi walking. And the way people explain Tai Chi walking to me makes me feel like I've never done Tai Chi walking in my life. if they're explaining all of these wonderful things, I wonder, man, was I robbed? Was I robbed by my teacher? I don't know. Because I hear amazing things about Tai Chi walking. What have you heard?
Oh, I've got a list. I mean, they just go into the. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. Here's one: the invisible force field effect. Some extreme proponents claim that mastering Tai Chi walking allows you to develop an internal pressure so strong that an attacker cannot physically touch your torso. I've heard of this before in the martial arts. I've heard of this before. I've heard of like the story where the monk will be meditating or something, and then someone will try and attack him, and he just gets picked up and thrown across the room or something. I've heard these kind of these things. I don't think this is in Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Then there's this thing called genetic rewiring. Slow motion gated Tai Chi walking can alter your DNA or unlock ancestral memories stored in your bone marrow.
Wow. What do you think? I don't know. Well, two things I want to address here. First, you've been doing Chinese martial arts for a long time as well. I've just been doing Tai Chi, but you've also done Wing Chun. And Wing Chun is not far from Tai Chi in lineage and in, how can I say, location as well. So there's like this, there are small links in Tai Chi and Wushu and whatnot, but being, how can I say, trained in traditional Chinese martial arts, I'm sure you've also heard some crazy things about martial arts in your circles, same as we have. I think there's this fear of everyone who does Chinese martial arts, yes, thinks about this and that, and this style can do this, and that style can do that. It's like, man, there's so many stories.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think 90% of it is either simply not true, made up, or is used to the advantage of the martial art. Like we said, to make up a story, you know. But the other thing is that also sleight of hand. It's not a bad thing to show sleight of hand, like it looks like this, but actually it isn't. It's like a it makes the martial art look more powerful than it actually is. But make no mistake, biomechanics is powerful enough on its own. You know, the science of biomechanics and leverage and movement is already great. You know, it's already good. It's already an important thing. Do you need to embellish it even more? I don't know. I don't think so. But I can understand why you might.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
so this one is interesting. Okay? This one is interesting, okay? Because this is something that we do work into our practice, okay? Organ massaging. In this case, they say total immunity. Now, what we do is move in certain ways in order to move your internal organs, move them around, shift them around. And the idea is that you're probably getting rid of toxins. You kind of massaging your internal organs. So just staying active, staying movement, and doing certain movements. I mean, that's something that we would do, but I can't see that in Tai Chi walking. I mean, like, what are you doing? You're not doing anything crazy with Tai Chi walking, you know?
No, there's nothing crazy. I don't know how they come up with these things.
Just going through. Oh, here's one. Walking on water or rice paper.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, something you said earlier was that, like, the mystery about it is very powerful. The mystery about Tai Chi, because people know far less than they think about Tai Chi. And I'd say it was a very big thing back in the day for schools and certain people not want to show their tricks, you know, like the sleight of hand that you mentioned. It's like when Bruce Lee taught Westerners Kung Fu, he was banished. He was like, it was a complete disgrace for someone to want to share their knowledge with the West, with other people, to make it this bigger, how can I say? It's like you're telling everyone our secret kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And back in then, it was really tight like that. It was, our school didn't want to show those guys any of our not ours personally, but schools were so secretive about what they were doing because of that kind of, how can I say, that sleight of hand, that mystery that it makes you think, shit, how powerful are they actually? They really were secretive about it. So it gives people space to speculate as well, because they don't know, but you can't say whether it's right or wrong. So you can get a few people who will say that Tai Chi walking can make you walk on water, and Tai Chi walk, believe me, I've done it. And it's kind of thing like certain people, it would give them space to think like, I wonder if that's possible. Some people will think, I wonder if it's possible. And that's who it's for. It's for people who think, I wonder if I could do that. But it ends up being seen by everyone. And everyone looks at it and it's like, I mean, you don't have to do Tai Chi to know humans don't fly. You know what I mean? You don't have to, you could be a normal person and think like, hold on, walking somehow equates to changing your DNA. It doesn't take an expert martial artist to think that doesn't make sense. So I think a lot of this is meant for the people, and I don't want to call them gullible, and I don't want to call them any kinds of names, but there are a certain percentage of people who fall into the mystery, who fall into that mystical, curiosity to think, is this stuff possible? And I'd say a lot of people take advantage of that imagination or of that curiosity, and they'll say, yes, you can do amazing things. Yes, this is wonderful. And I can't, how can I say, I'm 99% sure, I can't be 100% sure that it's a lie, because I'm not there, I'm not with it. But I'm 99% sure a lot of it is, as you said, made up. But there are people who are also 99% sure that it's possible. And because they exist, there will be sellers. If they're buyers, there will be sellers. So in my experience, I haven't seen any of these benefits from Tai Chi walking. I've done Tai Chi walking. You've done Tai Chi walking. We've been training for years. Like I said, I've been training for 20 years. I don't know where these things fit in, honestly. I don't know where these ideas come from. It's very creative. It does bring a bit of mysticism and curiosity, but I mean, wow, it doesn't make too much sense to me.
Yeah.
From what I do know about Tai Chi walking, I can give you I can tell you from experience what the benefits are for me. Tai Chi walking will help you with balance. It will help you with posture. It will help you with control. It will help you with leg strength. It will help you with, I can say, it'll help your joints quite a lot. And it will help you with dexterity. Those are cognitive skills. Those are things, if you pay attention to them, if you pay attention to the way you walk, if you pay attention to your posture, if you pay attention to your feet, they will improve with time. And that's what Tai Chi walking, from what I know, is for. It's for these cognitive foundational skills that you can always improve. You can always improve your balance. You can always improve your footwork. It's something that can consistently improve your cognitive and motor skills. But the DNA thing, I have no idea. No clue. There's a huge community of Westerners who love Eastern traditions and Eastern practices. Tai Chi is huge in Germany. Tai Chi is huge in a lot of Dutch or Northwestern countries because they are very health conscious and they understand how much movement and flexibility and strength helps your body. I personally think, who doesn't want to be healthy? Who doesn't want to be fit? Who doesn't want to be able to, go through their day or their lives without any strain or pains or unusual injuries? Who wants to bend over and hurt their back? it's one of these things. You want to be able to do whatever you want when you want to do it, and your body can take it. You know what I mean? And I would say that's an extremely exciting part about Tai Chi. Who wouldn't want complete control of their body and of their health? Who wouldn't want to be able to, I don't know, jump high, run fast, as well as kick and punch and throw and grapple. These are foundational motor skills that Tai Chi does teach you. Tai Chi walking does help, like I said, with footwork, with balance, with all these things. But the way it's shown, or the way it's been marketed, I want to say marketed by certain people, misses out so much of what makes it useful, like practicing with someone, sparring, testing it, pushing your body into these positions that you learn how to deal with. But all other people see you doing is learning. They don't see you doing, because very few martial arts, or should I say Tai Chi schools, get you to train the application, or to train the, how can I say, the combat use of Tai Chi. Very rare that you get schools who will do both, who will teach you both Tai Chi Tao Lu and Tai Chi Sanda, grappling, locks and holds, which is called Chinna. It's very rare to get those schools. So seeing, or what we see, is what we can tell from Tai Chi. And perhaps it would take a lot more research, which is also a lot of effort for people to understand more about Tai Chi. But from my experience, because I've grown up with it, or grown up through Tai Chi, it's, how can I say, it's not something I can very easily explain, but I can show you through my other martial arts journeys, with my MMA, with judo, wrestling, boxing. I can show you throughout these combat sports that Tai Chi prepared my body and my mind for all of these martial arts through its training, both in Tao Lu and in Sanda. So don't mistake Tai Chi as just, something soft and warm and lovely. There are many, many intents and directions with Tai Chi, and the Tao Lu and the exercise and the Qigong is just one part of it. Yeah, I would say good takeaway.
One of the focuses of Tai Chi is to try and be a little bit more balanced. When I look at MMA, as much as I like MMA, I do think that it can have a tendency to be imbalanced. And by that, what I mean is it's completely focused around the physical. There are a couple of things about that. Number one is that you can't train that forever. You got to run out of, like, the actual MMA as a sport. You can't do it forever. Tai Chi and a lot of the other martial arts, you can actually do well into your 70s, perhaps even into your 80s. Okay, and possibly older, just depending on what you're doing. And then also the importance of the Eastern cultures in terms of staying humble. We've spoken about this before, about if the guys that are involved at high level combat sports could stay humble or stay grounded, then they would spend less time doing stupid things, getting involved in drugs, getting involved in things that they shouldn't be doing. So people think like, oh, you're involved in martial arts, you're a healthy living person. It's a bit like the bodybuilders. You think, like, you look at a bodybuilder and you go, oh, gee, that guy's healthy. Meanwhile, his heart is dying. There's lots of things about the martial arts and about the fighting culture, which is not healthy at all.
Definitely. And I would equate it to, you'd find many people who are very brave, very aggressive, but have never been punched in the face. Do you know what I mean? Because they haven't experienced the result or the consequence of their actions. It's like when it comes to discipline is not something exciting. It's not something joyful. It's not something, because it's not easy. Having the ability to humble yourself and learn, or humble yourself and observe, it's something that, how can I say it? It's something that martial artists need in order to progress, because thinking you know everything or thinking you're able to do everything is exactly what will put you in trouble. Thinking you can take that guy on without training. It's the consequence will be shown immediately. Thinking you can go out and do whatever you want, the consequences are there. And people who haven't experienced that don't have a realistic idea of what it means to do whatever. Like when it comes to MMA, for example, there's something called weigh-ins. And with a lot of combat sports, it's weigh-ins. Now, you need to weigh a specific amount in kilograms or pounds in certain countries in order to fight. So you train, but you have to be at a certain weight to fight. Now, that's usually or sometimes where people actually fall short. And it's not the painful part. It's not the part when where you're getting hurt. It's not the part where you're extremely exhausted. It's not the part where you have been running all day or have been sparring. It's not that. It's being able to stay away from food or manage your food, manage your weight. That so many people fail, even though, let's say, they are good at fighting. Not having the discipline to watch your weight is something that people can't get over, and they don't fight. If you can't make weight, they don't allow you to fight. And if you don't have the discipline to make weight, all your training's for nothing. And you're not going to go out and punch random people because they haven't trained. How are you going to know how well you've learned, how good you are by starting nonsense with other people? You, as an athlete, want to get into an arena with another athlete and see which is the better learned or the better skilled athlete. And if you waste, or if you think that you're just going to get there without needing to watch your weight or your diet, without having the discipline to think about that, you're not going to get the chance to fight. That's just one aspect of the discipline you need to cut yourself back and do things in order. One last thing. I would say, if you genuinely think or are confused about anything about Tai Chi, I would say do it. And do Tai Chi, man, it's going to be a stretch to say for 6 months. Try 2 months. And then I'd say try Tai Chi for 2 to 3 months. Then go to any other martial arts gym or school and you will find something that you learned doing Tai Chi. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if you go from Tai Chi to boxing, from Tai Chi to kickboxing, Tai Chi to Muay Thai, if you go from Tai Chi to any of these, you will recognize and you'll think to yourself, that's the reason we did this. That's the reason we do that. And you're not able to see it now when other people are doing it because you don't see how it benefits them. But try doing Tai Chi and then doing another martial art. You, Dasha, have done Tai Chi, you've done Wing Chun, and you've done boxing. You've done it with your son. There are undeniable advantages to learning your stances, to learning to use your shoulders, to learning the mechanics of your body through Tai Chi and Wing Chun. That would help with boxing. Am I wrong?
No, definitely. I mean, another one is that you mentioned is just staying calm.
Yeah.
Like the ability to remain calm in a sparring environment is critical, because because I don't know if anybody knows, unless you've actually been in a ring, how scary it is to actually just go around in a ring and actually spar with someone. It's terrifying.
Even life sparring, having someone attack you, most people are not mentally ready for that.
And if you can remain calm and just do what it is and I think the military guys in the States, and in particular, they often talk about this. You kind of default to your base level of training. So if you have something to default back to, whether it be light sparring or just moving out the way, just moving and blocking, out the way. I think that would work for 99% of any conflict or sparring environment.
definitely. So, and it doesn't just come with, how can I say, it doesn't just come all of a sudden, and it doesn't come how you expect it. I know in my martial arts school growing up, we would get lashes. And I'll say this, lashes aren't always, I mean, hardly a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? But it's terrifying. It's something that but no one wants to be stung on their bums or stung. It's not a pleasant feeling. So when it comes to it, being able to say, yeah, okay, I messed this up, and take it, because we were always told you have to stand, bend over, touch your toes, and just take the lashing. It's not just going to come out of nowhere. You have to accept that you are being lashed for making a mistake, to own up to it, and you have to take the lash. And having the mental fortitude to say, yes, I accept this pain as a result of something I've done, is what you would experience in a ring sparring. It's a commitment you've made. It's you get in there, and there's a person attacking you, and you've made the decision to stand there and defend yourself. You know, you've made a decision to not just freeze or run away. You choose to stay in there, stay in the ropes, and give it back. And having that ability to make that decision, you can't get out of anywhere. You know, it's even the small things teach you that. Just those getting those lashes, accepting those lashes, or accepting any of the punishment that you say you would deserve. It's same thing. You're accepting this punishment coming towards you, accepting, you're saying, yes, this is what I'm training for. This is what I accept. And that's what allows you to stay calm.
It's a very strange thing. It's a very difficult thing, I think, for a lot of Western mindset. Okay, so just bear in mind, we both come from a South African environment, and I grew up in a situation where getting lashed was part of your school upbringing. So, so to be disciplined, physically disciplined, is not a foreign thing for me. But of course, after the 90s, it became quite foreign. But in Eastern cultures, particularly the martial arts, physical discipline is a thing, and that was part of the training. I think a lot of Westerners would not understand that at all. They would just like say, no, that's assault. That's just straight out wrong. They wouldn't understand the discipline. I think they even take it. I think when Westerners go and train in China, I think they take half of the discipline out, because to Westerners, they just can't handle physical discipline.
I think it's specifically here, I think because of the lack in discipline, both in students and in leadership as well, a lot of what caused it to, how can I say, a lot of what caused it to become so bad was eventually how certain people were using it. Like certain teachers would take advantage of it. And like I said, you get these people, you get bad people in good positions. And the thing is, from my experience in Asian cultures or in Eastern martial arts, it's for a purpose that you would get lashed. You know what I mean? You've deserved it probably. It's not just willy-nilly. It's as well as the students, the teachers, and the leadership are disciplined enough to control themselves and use it when necessary. I think that's a big key as well that the West just doesn't want to understand. You know, it's a don't hurt me kind of thing. Don't hit me with that stick. I just came here to learn Tai Chi or whatever it is. So I do think they do take it lighter on Westerners just because it's been completely thrown out, the idea that you should hit someone or a child or punish someone physically. Like you said, I've grown up in South Africa. I wasn't in school during the what did they call it? What is it? Corporate punishment? What was it called?
Corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment. I wasn't in school during corporal punishment, but it was given instead in the form as of Chinese martial arts training. So I still received my lashes growing up, but instead of for not doing my homework, it was for not training. It was for being lazy or something like that. But if you look at it, you grow up steady and you grow up with your head on a stick, not knowing right from wrong, uh, quite confidently. Like, because I think we've had real punishment for real mistakes, we have a real idea of right and wrong. And this is good, this is bad. So being able to make decisions. I'm not going to say that everyone who was lashed ended up being amazing people. You know, you had some lighties in school getting lashed who still ended up very weird. But, you know, being able to understand that there's consequences to your actions, the main thing, is what keeps your head up. You know, keeps your head on a stick. That's what drives the discipline. And I think that's what Eastern or Chinese martial arts hold a lot higher than Western martial arts, is that people must own up and they must face consequences, and it's what builds character as well. I think it plays a huge role in Eastern martial arts, which is what both makes it so long-lasting, because Chinese martial arts have been forever, and also what makes students stay forever. I mean, majority of martial arts students are either with one or two schools forever. It builds loyalty, it builds brotherhood, it builds so much more than just your discipline, getting a lash or whatever. So as people would say, it's harsh. I don't know, maybe you could say it's harsh, but I would say to an extent it's very necessary to understand the consequences of your actions.
You've got some fights coming up. Tell me a little bit about your fight that you've got coming up. I think it's in about a week.
I've got an MMA fight coming up. This will be my third MMA fight. I'm 2-0 currently. This fight was given to me on short notice. I learned it's going to be on the 21st. Oh, sorry, tomorrow's 21st. My MMA fight's going to be on the 28th of March. Today is the 20th of March. I learned about this on the 17th. So I learned about it on Wednesday, that they'd found me a fight. And it was a case where there was a fight at 61 kgs that were going to happen, but I think one of them were injured or had to pull out. So I agreed to take their place so that the other guy could continue to fight. It's not uncommon for these kinds of things to happen, although it is a surprise. I was surprised to actually get a fight because they told me they couldn't. So I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited because it's the first time actually that I've had a week and a half notice for a fight. All the other times I've had like a month or so to prepare, a month or two. But because I train every day, regardless, and I have real intent and real passion for sports, I think I'm ready. I think I'll be fine, if I'm being honest. And it's one of those things where you get given a situation, and yes, I accepted it. It's my choice. You get given a situation, and it's up to you to decide how you're going to deal with it. It goes all the way back to being lashed. It goes all the way back to training for Taolu or Sanda competitions in Johannesburg, wherever. It goes all the way back to a 12-year-old me preparing for a martial arts competition. It's all the same thing. It's you're going to be put in a high pressure, high stress, high expectation, because the expectation that you have for yourself has to be high. Yeah, I don't think there's unless it's completely fun, I don't think there's a reason to compete, especially on the level where it's dangerous. I don't think there's a reason to compete if you're not trying to win, or not trying to do your best, or you're not doing it to fail. And in every situation where I've tried to get the gold or win the fight, it's been the exact same feeling, and I've had to go through the exact same process. And from years and years of preparing for Taolu competitions, Sanda competitions, boxing fights, MMA fights, the accepting of what's going to happen makes it far smoother, and all I really have to be concerned about on the sharpness, the skills, the reflexes. And because I train all the time, I'm not worried about it. So where most people struggle to actually get into the cage or get into the ring, because it's so daunting, very scary. Because most people fail, I don't want to say fail, because most people can't handle the pressure. It's what eventually leads them to either receiving a lot of damage or losing, because they end up very scared. And that's where your shock sinks in, and you're unable to actually do what you've been training. You're not able to think as you've been thinking in your sparring sessions, in your drilling sessions. You can't think the same way, because it's a completely different experience. And because I've had this throughout my life, being told or being asked, do you want to fight next week Saturday? And confidently saying, yes, I'd like to fight next week Saturday, is, I don't want to say easy, but I'm very comfortable with my decision because of the upbringing. So it's going to be a short notice fight. I'm going to be fighting at 61 kilos. That's bantamweight. I'm currently 2-0. I'll be fighting someone who's 4-1. So he's a bit more experienced in the cage than I am. But it's at the end of the day, how hard you've trained or how well you've trained is what's eventually going to show in the cage. And I'm very confident in my training. So, well, it's short notice. He has a great record. You know, we're going to see what happens in the cage. And even if I lose, I'm not going to use the week and a half as an excuse, because like I said, I've been training this whole time. I'm well prepared mentally for it. Even if I lose, I'll be happy that I took the fight, to be honest. I'll be happy that I got another chance again. And it's what I like to do. And yeah, win or lose, I'll be happy to compete. That's what I like. So I'm quite excited for this fight. Hopefully I can record so that we can see what happens in the cage. I'm very confident. I'm not overconfident, because I know that anything can happen in a fight. There is training, there is mental fortitude, but all of those things just raise your percentage, raise your chances, but it's never 100%. So it's just we'll just see and see how well I've prepared.
I know that perhaps just to close off, we'll go right back to the beginning. What is Tai Chi? No one's going to believe. It's really hard for people to believe that here you are, you're going into an MMA cage as a fighter, and your primary source of training is Tai Chi.
Like I said, I've been doing Tai Chi for 20 years. I've been doing MMA for about a year. Judo for about 2 months. I've been doing wrestling since I started MMA, but I've been doing combat sports that isn't Sanda. Okay, because I've been doing Sanda for a much longer time. I've been doing MMA, which is the aggressive, small gloves, grappling, cage fighting, very rough, very, that crazy sport. I've been doing that for a year. But I haven't been in this mindset for a year. I've been in this mindset for 20 years, I've had this discipline for 20 years. And it's all been built through Tai Chi. All of the breathing and the park Tai Chi and the moving slowly and so lovely things that you see about Tai Chi. That's what's prepared me to say, yes, I'd like to fight next weekend. That's what's prepared me to say, yes, I accept I'm going to get into this cage. Yes, it's a scary situation, but I accept. That's what's prepared me to take this on the chin and do my best, I think. So people can say what they like about Tai Chi. I have my experience with Tai Chi. I've been doing it forever. And being able to take that confidence from my Tai Chi into a cage is what lets me know, or what confirms that it's not just this thing in a bubble that you've seen in videos. It's not just what you've heard. It's not the Tai Chi walking. It's not the mystic stuff. This is years of training, years of sparring, years of drilling, taolu, locks and holes. It's years of all of these things that are just given a chance now to express itself in the form of MMA. So you can say what you like about Tai Chi. This is how I practice Tai Chi. I will go into the cage, I will practice, and I will, how can I say? I will do my Tai Chi. It will be expressed in MMA through my techniques that I've learned in MMA, like grappling, whatever. It'll be expressed through the rule set of MMA, but that's who I am. I can't change it. I don't switch to something that I've been doing for a year when I've been doing something else for 20 years. It doesn't just all of a sudden take over. When I get in there, I'm still Tai Chi Ethan. I'm still Laoshi. I'm still the boy who grew up doing Tai Chi in the cage. And that's worked for me so far. And I hope that's what's going to help me next week.